If you're not where you need to be mentally, you're never going to get to be where you need to be physically. And, in order to be consistent with something, you have to have foundational habits that you can always go back to in order to become your best self.
Man, you just dropped the bar. Welcome back to the podcast. I started this podcast as a way to help Black men in all aspects of our lives. Studies show on average we lose 2.8 years of our life when we're under heavy stress. And I think we can gain those 2.8 years back if we express ourselves healthily. Stick with me as I interview therapists, doctors, advocates, activists, and friends about how we can be better as Black men and as a Black community. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube and following us on Instagram and TikTok, you'll definitely want to do that. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. I'm with Corey, co-founder of 1-on-1, T. Drew, co-founder of 1-on-1. I've had y'all on the podcast before, separate episodes. We talked about like anger management, Corey, T. Drew. We talked more business. But today I want to talk more about like y'all story and how y'all got to this point, because y'all are two Black men and y'all are running a company that's been through like multiple fundraisers, rounds. Y'all have employees. Y'all have a whole like business structure going. And people may see that on a surface level, but they don't understand what it's taken for you guys to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to talk about your personal stories leading up to this point, like some of the things that you guys have experienced. And we can start with you, T. Drew. So like, how did you get to this point where you're a co-founder of 1-on-1? You know, y'all have multi-million-dollar deals, all these different things going on. How did you get here? Like, what led up to this?
I think what led up to 1-on-1 was just Corey and I, because 1-on-1 wouldn't exist with just me, and 1-on-1 wouldn't exist with just him in the way that it exists now. So for the company to be where it is now, it's truly because of both of us and what we've been able to do together. Me personally, it started when I was a kid, man. Like I've shared this story before, but I was when I was like 7 years old in class, there was like a project where we had to write what we wanted to be when we wanted to grow up, and I wrote that I wanted to be an entrepreneur and own 7 businesses, and that I love New York City, and that basketball was my hobby, and I love music and skateboarding. And this was when I was like a child. Everybody else was like astronaut, like whatever. I was like entrepreneur, young. Okay. So like me now is just who I wanted to be when I was a kid.
Okay. So take me through, right? Because you talked about when you was younger. What mental health struggles did you go through, and do you feel like that impacted you and played a role in you starting a, co-founding a mental wellness company as well?
Oh man, dude, so when I was 8 years old, someone very close to me committed suicide. He was like an additional father figure in my life, so that's where it started. Then when I was like 12, 13, I almost took my own life. And I've talked about this like openly. I wasn't even really ready to talk about it probably until like 2016-ish. But that was my own personal experience, and that just came from not fitting in. I skipped a grade. I was bullied. I was like a nerd, didn't fit in, like all that. So just being different, not really having any friends, being like a loner, always trying to figure out like, why don't people like me? Why am I different? This and that, blah, blah, blah. That was like the main driver of it.
Okay.
And so I'm just grateful for it, man. And that's why I'm able to operate from a place of empathy, because I understand how it feels to be ostracized or be picked on. Like I was bullied all through school.
Right.
Like had stuff thrown at me, like got shoved in lockers a couple times, all that. So because of that, I was like, one day, all these MFers are gonna regret this. You know what I mean? So
typical villain.
Yeah. So, like even, I didn't even have a date for prom, bro. Like I went to a different high school's prom because nobody wanted to go to prom with me from my high school.
Damn, really?
Oh yeah. And I was like, I was like, man, everyone regret this one day.
Mm.
So yeah, that's like the villain origin story or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, man. You taking me back to my prom when I was in high school. I remember not high school. It was middle school actually. I had a teacher that I was really close with. And I remember she called me to her office, or not her office, her room one day. And I was just like, why are you calling me to your room? We was in like the auditorium doing something as like a school. And then she was like, yo, come over to my my room. So I was like, all right, cool. I get there, the lights are off. And then I turn around and there's a girl from like, our grade. And she's like, I want you to take her to prom. And mind you, like, I don't want to call nobody's daughter unattractive, but that wasn't, my cup of tea.
Was he in style?
It wasn't my cup of tea,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like, damn, but this is my man, this is my teacher. You know what I mean? And I don't want you to feel like I'm not listening to you, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to take her to prom. So I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just take her to prom. Took her to prom, and bro, I take her to prom, and then she starts dancing with other people. I remember at that time, I'm like, yo, I don't care if I didn't want to take you at first. We go together now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you my girl now. Like, I didn't want to take you at first, but now things are real.
Right.
And you dancing with somebody else? Like,
Right.
come on, bro. So nah, I'm glad you shared that, bro. But on the real, like, I'm glad you shared that story. I'm glad you're still here. I think it's important what you guys do. So I wanted to pivot to you, Corey. I feel like you've had your own, we've talked about it a little bit. You've had your own struggles growing. Like, how did your upbringing kind of shape you into who you are today, and how did that play into 1-on-1?
Yeah, so for me, my story is a little different.
Mhm.
My mental wellness journey was more on the anger management side, as we discussed on former podcasts with you and others. But for me, I struggled with anger management. I was overly competitive. I was what you call a sore loser in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of that was rooted in the environment I grew up in. My parents divorced at a very young age. My mother, she was my rock. We bounced around multiple hoods in Brooklyn, but she always made sure myself and my brother had the best path forward. But still I couldn't get over these anger management issues that I was dealing with. And, there was I just overreacted to a lot of things, but she always consistently provided me with the necessary feedback and structure and systems with whatever she could to help me, really enable myself to really understand myself at an early age or get to know myself. My brother, who I love and actually works with T. Drew and I at 1-on-1 and pushing that forward as our chief of staff and does a lot of business development for us. We're 5 years apart. So, although I looked up to him and he was a big part of my upbringing, he had left for school when he was 13. So I was only 8 years old.
Okay.
So I was like really the only one in the house up until the point my uncle, who I call my second dad, brought me in during my teenage years. But sports was my outlet. Sports was what drove me, what kept me grounded, what kept me off the streets, what kept me streamlined and structured, and education, obviously. And that was things my mother instilled in me. And then once I found and discovered football, wow, like a lot changed for me. I was always good at backyard football, but I was able to unleash the inner beast that I always wanted to let out, at a young age on the football field. So I went from channeling anger management to where it impacted me and made me depressed, to the point where I had suicidal thoughts at a younger age, to channeling it to something for sport, for bettering myself, bringing me around team and, understanding team and wanting to be a part of a team and wanting to be part of the community, wanting to see people do better. And, that's what molded me throughout my time and also made me realize how important it is for a team and to have people who you can go to battle with on a daily basis.
Right.
And that's why it was so great to connect with someone like T. Drew to build 1-on-1, which stands for one mind and one body, because that's all we got, right?
Mhm.
So why are we not doing everything we possibly can to nurture the mind and the body on a consistent basis. And me and T. Drew connected on that at a young age. He was a late bloomer, as he mentioned, where sport kind of allowed me to evolve early, where I was the man, I guess. Homecoming
Corey's
king.
Been the man. It's very rare to like. What's rare about Corey? Sorry, I'm like taking a tangent.
No. Go ahead.
It was very rare about someone like Corey. Someone like Corey usually would not end up being that cool early. You know what I mean? Like,
expand.
Something would like. Usually, people like that, they plateau. Like when he. Homecoming king to like the man. Corey's a man in high school, the man in college, the man after college, the man in real life. Like that says something about him, but like that's harder to me. That's harder to do than to be like a late bloomer because it's like I was like I'm just gonna peak later,
right?
Whereas he just peaks.
He peaked. You know what I mean? He peaked and stayed there.
And although I was whatever the man, I'm not and whatever, and if you want to call it a TV drama series, Fresh Prince of Brooklyn Heights, as people like to call me once I transitioned over to that life, living with being with my second dad, who's one of my biggest mentors and one of the biggest people in my life in general, John Utendahl. But for me, as T. Drew mentioned, even though I was, again, quote unquote, the man per se, I always took a liking to the underdog, to the kids that people overlooked or wasn't given a chance to. And I was the guy who would befriend those people and look out for them and be like, and protect them from the bullies or the people making fun of them. And obviously, when I met T. Drew, he wasn't that. He was well past that stage. But it almost felt like the energy, or through God's will, he knew I would root for someone like the younger T. Drew. And that's what brought us together, it feels like, right? It was like meant to happen. Like, yo, younger T. Drew was supposed to meet you because you like people like that. Like, that's people that you're drawn to. And I think that's why it happened the way it did. It's something I think about because obviously knowing where he came from, we met in New York City in 2015 when he had just moved here to go to grad school at Columbia. And I just finished up my professional football career and I was just figuring life out. And yeah, it felt like it was meant to be. We went into the story about how we met, it and where we are now. Like we always talk about all the time, like this was supposed to happen.
Right.
And it feels like, a lot of that energy and my upbringing, kind of led to that moment. And, in the way things played out for us to be here from starting 1-1 as a freaking apparel company in 2017.
Oh,
it was an apparel company at first.
Yeah.
What were y'all selling? Tights? Sweat?
That shirt.
This shirt.
Oh, word.
We were selling this.
Yeah, we started.
We had a passion for fitness, being integrated and wellness. And then, what started as, again, a lifestyle apparel company. And back then, that was hot. Like
yeah.
A lot of up-and-coming companies. Like, that's where we felt like we could get our biggest win and tie in them. Mental health was always tied into the mission.
Right.
And then, just over time, and tons of hours that we put in of building a brand and tons of feedback from different people and just tons of failure, which to me, failure is not failure and failure is not final. Failure is growth.
Right.
We got to a place where we're like, man, let's do what we're passionate about, man. Let's change the narrative around mental health for the BIPOC community,
right.
Black and brown men and women, and people who really just don't even know that they're dealing with mental health issues at a high level.
Right, man.
So like it was. So we were doing it before the George Floyd. Like we started really building content around that and our passion around that. So it was like right time, right place when all the George Floyd stuff, Black Lives Matter stuff started to happen for our community. That brought a spotlight on, of course, more on like how suppressed we are and how the cards are stacked against us.
Right.
But also just like, man, like it's not okay to just be out here taking this, right?
Right.
You know, one of my favorite interviews is with Tupac because I have my white friends who's like, man, like, you know, is rioting and looting the right way to do this? You know, I'm like, not necessarily, but if I sat here and kept poking you, I just kept poking you. You're like, man, stop poking me. I just keep poking you. And you're like, stop, come on, why you keep poking me? And then I just keep doing it. You're going to act out of anger eventually.
Right.
And that's what looting and rioting is.
Right.
We asked in early 1900 to get some respect. We asked in the 60s, we asked in the 50s, we asked in the 40s. We in 2023, and a lot of the same things are still happening. So that is a reaction to the things not changing. And that's why we're just taught to just deal with it.
Right.
Just deal with life.
Yeah, and not to mention, whenever I hear about the rioting and looting, it's like, bro, you're missing the point. First of all, that's not the main thing that's happening.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That's a part of it.
Yep.
Right? Like, that's a byproduct of it, but that's not the main thing that's happening. All right, I'm interrupting this podcast episode to let you guys know to leave a review on the podcast. Please, 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 if you are listening to this episode and you're finding value in this episode, you're enjoying the conversation, or you've enjoyed a previous episode or conversation, and it's safe to operate your phone right now, please leave us a review. Your review is a free and easy way to support us, and it helps us reach more people like you. We're on a mission to build a stronger, more connected Black community, starting with Black men. And you can help us on that mission by taking a minute out of your day to leave a review. Your review helps us generate more listeners, which in turn generates more revenue, allowing us to expand the platform even further. So please take a few seconds out of your day. I know you're busy. I understand. I know you're doing a lot, but it will help us greatly if you would just take a few seconds out of your day to leave a review right now. Did you leave a review yet? All right, let's get back to the episode. One of the things that you touched on, you talked about the pivot that you guys made from, like, I'm sure you guys made a bunch of pivots from like the apparel to focusing on mental wellness for, you know, the community. Tiju, can you take me through that? Like, what was that transition like for you guys? And like, what kind of difficulties did you guys face during that time?
Yeah, man. Well, entrepreneurship is, you know, the best analogy for entrepreneurship is it's a couple things. It's launching a plane in the air and you build it while it's in the air, and you're building it the whole way while you're trying to take it all the way to space. So that's what entrepreneurship is. You have to adapt. What's most important about it is you have to know why you're doing what you're doing. You have to have a North Star. The way you get there is going to change, but our North Star was always helping people to become the best versions of themselves, starting with mental health and manifesting through the other 7 dimensions of wellness, because well-being is a holistic thing. It's not just the mind, it's the mind, body, spirit, finances, everything. But the vehicle to get there can change. But if you start as a blockbuster and stay as a blockbuster, you'll never become Netflix. So, you know, I am not good at a lot of stuff, but I think one of the things that I'm pretty good at that I'm grateful for, you know, Corey being able to trust me to do is I think we've been able to, with what we're doing, see patterns and recognize patterns in society and understand societal trends as far as product is concerned, not necessarily what society as people are doing, but society with product, and combining an understanding of the human condition with an understanding of how to build a good product and putting something at the intersection of that. So people, pattern, product, intersection. And when we started 1-in-1, we saw a need for conversation and content, but the real way to make people 1% better is through technology, scalable. So how do we create something that can help people truly become better versions of themselves, but in a way where it's accessible, friendly, it's fun, And we then started to figure that out. And we're both a proponent of, and I strongly believe that every product should have a media engine behind it. You shouldn't have a product or something without some type of content or storytelling. I just look at media as content and storytelling. So what we did very quickly was say, okay, there's an opportunity here in the content space to create content, to create narratives around wellness, how we see wellness, which is mental health first and then manifesting through other areas of wellness, 7 dimensions. But we were able to make it accessible because everything was free. Our podcast is free to listen to, but our podcast is our main mental health niche because we have doctors on there. We have psychologists, we have therapists, we have behavior change specialists, we have anxiety practitioners, we have celebrities, athletes, everyone talking about it. So you can go to our podcast and get a free session. You can get free CBT. You can get free frameworks. You can go on our podcast and find an episode that's gonna help you for free. And you're not only getting access to stuff like that, but you're also seeing yourself. Right. And that's like one thing that was very important with us as well with the whole content piece. Like you go to our website, you see people of color immediately. You're able to find like how to find an article, how to find therapists as a Black person immediately. You're able to explore and see things, but at the same time, while we're serving us first, wellness is for everyone. Right. So the way that people of color and us are gonna create better relationships and become stronger ourselves is to be able to have platforms where you can find things that look like you and yourself, but you can also open yourself up to a community that supports you, that identifies with a common thread. And that common thread for us is it starts with the mind, but it ends everywhere else. And wellness is a holistic thing. It's the 7 dimensions and it's well-being. So, you know, that content, those 2-3 years of understanding, audience building, understanding what people want, provided us with an insight that allowed us to build our technology and our app. And that insight is the majority of people, 80% of people, struggle with reaching their goals. Billions of dollars are spent every year on reaching their goals. People fail, whether it's a physical goal, a mental goal, whatever. And the main problem with that is people's goals aren't aligned. They're not aligned in the right intention. There's a lack of self-awareness. So what did we do? Our goal was to create something that could help people become 1% better. How do you do that? Through reaching goals. But how do you reach your goals? Through habits. There is nothing more important in life than your habit practice and your principles. If you talk to me, him, yourself, anybody that you think that has any level of success, I come back and tell me, I guarantee you that they have habits that they live and die by. And every successful person I talk to and every interview that I watch, whatever, they always said, you are nothing without your habits, your practices, your principles. And so we then spent an insane amount of time, effort. We didn't talk about it. We spent probably about 6 to 8 months building it, but we wanted to bring finally technology that could help people through the power of habit forming, goal setting, and proper intention. And so now that's what we have. So we started as athleisure, and now we're a technology and media company. So we now have technology that we own, that we've made, that we truly feel will be able to change the world. I mean, it's only been in the App Store for 16 days. We have like 300 downloads. We've done no marketing. We have 11 5-star reviews. People text me all the time talking about how much they love it. I probably have 30 paragraphs from people telling me that like this is it. And in my mind, I'm like, it's nowhere near it. Like, it's not even good to me. You know what I mean?
Can we talk about that though? As like a man, there's so much that you said just now that I want to expand on, but we're gonna talk about that last part because people don't understand, right? Like when you're creating something, you're running something, right? You see it from a completely different lens,
bro,
than a consumer. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people, like I talked about this on the podcast before, where I was like, There's people like, yo, this podcast is amazing. I love this episode. And I was like, that episode is shitty. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hate that episode.
Yeah.
But
you know,
that's why that's why you're great.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
That's why you have an audience.
So for me, it's always about, I'm always obsessed with improving what the current experience is. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I'm always thinking about it. We talked about sleep earlier. When we were talking about just like how much sleep everybody's getting. And I was just like, yo, I'm not sleeping. And that's because I'm obsessed, right? Like, right. I'm in the stage right now where we're building, right? So we have the Safe Haven platform. It's good. It's cool. People can get on there. They can get the help that they need. Nobody's really complaining. There's not really a bunch of complaints. There's certain things that we could fix up and it'll be better. But in my head, I'm like, the way I always phrase it is, I don't want people to come in to use a product that we build and get McDonald's service. Whereas sometimes you go to McDonald's, you're like, yo, damn, that McDonald's is all right. The other times you go to McDonald's in the hood, you're like, oh shit, let me roll my windows up. I don't even know if I want to, like, you know what I'm saying? I want people to pull up and use our products, use Safe Haven, and feel like they're getting Chick-fil-A service every single time.
Yep.
Like, when you think about Chick-fil-A, the first thing you think about is my pleasure. Second thing you think about is like, yo, I know when I go there, they're going to get my order right. There's never going to be an issue. Nobody's going to have an attitude with me. I'm going to be in there and everything's going to be straight. And the reason why is because they have systems, procedures, everything set in place so that wherever you go, it's going to be the same experience there, right? And so that's what I'm trying to cultivate inside of Safe Haven. Not that we have a bunch of different franchises and all that kind of stuff, but just the experience. When somebody comes in, what's the first thing that they see, right? How are they onboarded into the system? How are we getting them help, right? And we have that set in place now, but like you were talking about, making things that are scalable, right? Because in order to help the community, we have to be able to leverage technology that allows us to be able to scale things efficiently. And what I was seeing with the platform is like, we're scaling, and then I'm like, man, but that's an issue there. It's working right now, and it will work until we get to the point where I can really, be comfortable and do this full time. But man, I don't really like that. But everybody's like, oh, it's cool. I'm like, nah, man, I don't like that. It's not good enough for me, right? And so that's what's led me to this obsession with, okay, we're gonna rebuild it from the ground up, right? So we have a whole different platform we're running it on, a whole different CRM in the background. And we're really but we're building out a system where somebody can come in, they say, I need help with this, this, and this, and we can have resources that we can tap them into, and they can get access to the right things that they need, and it can be scalable. So that when whoever comes in, they get the same exact experience, and the team is not overextended. Nobody's working all these extra hours to try and pull things together. So I wanted to speak on that specifically because I love what you guys have done with the app. Like, I used it, right? And I was like, yo, bro, this shit is...
What do you think? Yo, you have to...
Shit is amazing. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, yo, I ain't have it's not freezing on me. Like, I'm thinking like, when people first launch an app, sometimes, depending on it can have some issues.
Especially the homie app.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got the text from Corey. I was like, I'm getting this thing. I'm like, I wasn't thinking like it was gonna be that type of experience.
You know what's crazy? You know what's important about that? This is something that's like very important to me. Like, and I think about this all the time, man. Like, I don't want or expect anything from anybody. I don't care if you're my friend. I don't care if you're my boy, best friend, whatever. Like, I want my stuff to be so good that you have no choice but to like it. Like, I don't like...
We're on the same page, bro.
Like, dude, I almost lost my mind building this app, bro. Cause like, I'm like, the first impression, like my team was like, yo, we can launch it. I'm like, can we?
No.
I'm like, I was like, are you guys like, can we? Because I know it's when you think like us and like, and I'm not sitting there saying I'm like great or whatever the hell, like, but all of the greats are obsessive in that way because you only get a first impression with people. And so like, I had people text me like, I didn't expect it to be this good.
Yeah.
So like in my head, I'm like, okay, were you thinking I wasn't gonna do that? Like, this is me, us. Like, you know our level of, so all right, cool, put that in my back pocket, great. But then it's like, once you do that for people, they can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah.
And you got them.
Yeah.
So like,
you've hooked them.
That's why you have to put everything into that first thing, because that's what people were saying. They're like, yeah, usually when we see apps launch in the app store, like, you know, it's like, it's just like a whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
And I'm like,
at first.
yeah. But to me, I'm like people are like, oh, it's free? This is free? I'm like, yeah. And you saying that means when we release additional value for it to be paid, guess who's paying?
Right. Exactly.
And I don't want, like, if you're like, I want people that hate me and that are rooting against me to have no choice but to download it, because it's so good.
Are you reading my mind right now, bro? You're reading my mind.
That's crazy. That's how I think about product. That's how I think about product.
I was just about to say that. I want people that don't like me to look at the platform and be like, damn, I'm going to refer this to a black man in my life.
Because you have no choice. Because it's so good.
Like, I'm sure it does. But that's what I love that, because that means that you understand the value in what we do. And I've created something that, regardless of how you feel about me as a person, you understand that this is valuable and it is what solves a problem for someone that you know, or maybe even yourself.
Not a lot of people like Steve Jobs, bro.
I bet, yeah. But we all got.
I mean, not a lot of people don't like the greats in general, right? But you know, and I love relating a lot of things to sports, because, man, you know, you gotta be a different cat to win 6 championships, to win 7, to win 8, to win 5. You know how obsessive you need to be to win a chip, go back to the drawing board, and then get better, do it again 4 more times, 5 more times. Jordan 3-peated twice.
Bro, he played with Tom. Before I met Corey, I'm an Eagles fan. I didn't like Tom Brady. After listening to Corey tell me about how Tom Brady actually is, because he played with him, I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, so it's like a different level of, you know, and just hearing the stories of a lot of my teammates who, you know, played with Tom for a long time, and you know, just hearing how he was, and just hearing stories of people who played with Jordan or been around Jordan or played with Kobe, been around Kobe, like those greats that we all look up to at a high level, right? Like, you know, and that's the level of dedication that you need to put towards whatever it is you're doing. Right. You know, in order to be great. If great is what the goal is.
Great should always be the goal.
Yeah, it should always be the goal.
It's fine. It's trust me. I tell people this all the time. It's fine to not be great. Greatness comes with a cost.
Oh, of course.
Like
100%.
I tell people this all the time. Do not be an entrepreneur if it's not who you are, because it is not fun for the most part. It is not for the weak. You know what's fun? When I see people and they're like, oh my God, I love what you just built. You know what's not fun? The 9 months before that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
it's tough, man. It's a grind. And, you know, people don't. I wish we had more time to document the not fun parts so people can see what goes into that. We got a long way to go, bro. Like, you know, there's so much more we need to accomplish, so much more we need to do, you know, in order to really take 1 and 1 to where it needs to be. But man, you know, like I said, we've been at this for going on 7 years now, and man, it's definitely a roller coaster, and it's not for the weak-hearted. Entrepreneurship and, you know, life in general, right? So, you know, when you're dealing with 2 aspects, your personal life and your business life, and you chose to make your business life entrepreneurship, it's a different beast, right? And for a lot of entrepreneurs, it's 2 business lives, because a lot of times you're still doing another job, a corporate job per se, to feed the entrepreneurship side in order to continue to make a means and fund your startup, you know, from a bootstrap position.
Right.
So you're feeding 2 business lives and a personal life, family, relationship, girlfriend, et cetera, to go along with that. Man, that's so many cups you're trying to fill.
Bro.
So how can you tell me that you're not going to do everything it takes to make sure you're in the best position possible to be your best self in all of those instances?
Bro.
You know what I'm saying? So that comes with sleep. That comes with working out. That comes with dedication, you know, the habits, right? Whenever I get outside of my habits and I'm not, you know, keeping in line with reading my Bible daily, getting my spiritual wellness on, you know, budgeting, checking my finances, and staying in tap with my overall well-being in myself. Whenever I lose myself, I feel the spiral coming on. I'm either in it and I'm like, I'm not grounded. I'm off.
Yeah.
I need to snap back quick. I need to get back in my book. I need to get back in my bag because man, I ain't read my Bible in 4 days. I didn't get with my mental performance coach in 2 weeks. What's going on? And next thing I know, I'm spiraling. I got to get back to those habits. And that's why, you know, it was so important for T. Drew and I to really drive home, man. If you're not where you need to be mentally, you're never going to get to be where you need to be physically. And, you know, in order to be consistent with something, you have to have foundational habits that you can always go back to in order to become your best self.
Man, you just dropped the bar. You know what's so interesting about that, bro? You spoke my whole story. Like literally, bro. I got the personal life, got the family, you know, got my girl. We doing long distance right now. So that's his own battle. Then I got the business life where I work the 9 to 5 to fund the Express Yourself Black Man Ventures and stuff that I want to do. So it can get crazy.
Yeah.
On a week to week basis. Oh my God, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta be built different, bro.
You got it. Yeah, it's a whole, the people don't understand, bro. People really don't get it. Unless you're doing it, you don't get it. Because I remember what my days used to be like before I had Express Yourself Black Man. It's not like I've been doing this my whole life. I know what my days used to be like. Right? I would work. After work, I'm like, oh, work is done. Shut my laptop off.
Happy hour.
You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling, bro. I turn on some music. I'm on my IG story. I'm bumping music. I'm chilling. I'm watching the game. I'll maybe download a movie, order some Chinese. And we do the same thing the next day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, bro, I got two. I'm going to tell you what my setup is in the crib, right? I have 2 laptops up at all times. One laptop is the work laptop, the 9 to 5 laptop. The other laptop is the Express Yourself Black Man laptop, right? Then I got the monitor up right here, right? So every day it's like I'm splitting my brain in 2. One thing is business, right? We got the business over here. Then the other thing is we got the work side over here.
Yep.
Right? And I'm answering emails for work. Then I gotta answer emails for business, right? Then I gotta, oh man, the post gotta go out today. Let me make sure I edit that and make sure that goes out. Oh, we're having an issue with the post being scheduled that I already scheduled the week before. Let me make sure I hit that up. But now we got a work escalation. I gotta go do it. Bro, it's always,
you didn't even get to wifey texting you.
We didn't even get there yet, bro. Babe, when you gonna call me?
We didn't get to the gym either.
We didn't even, bro. The gym already happened before I did all that.
We
you know
didn't get to the gym.
I'm up at 6 a.m. I'm up at 6 a.m., bro.
Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur until they get punched in the mouth.
Bro, people think it's so cool. Oh man, I wish I had this platform. Do you? Do you really?
But that's why that's
you know what I'm saying? Like
that's also why, man, like the why, like understanding your why is so important.
Of course.
Because if we weren't driven by our passion to just make the world a better place, but like really help people become the best versions of them from a self-improvement standpoint, if we weren't passionate about that, I guarantee you we would have just gone in a different direction or not even continue.
We would have folded a long time.
We would have folded a long time ago.
But we knew we know what the main reason is. Like, you know, even if it didn't come down to how does this thing make money? How is this a real business?
Right.
We just care about people. We care about seeing people become better versions of themselves. You know, I'm a big believer in looking at team as an acronym. Together, everyone achieves more. That's something I live by, right? And I hate winning alone. I like winning with my guys. You know, I like winning with my girls. I like winning with my people. I like winning with strangers.
Right.
You know, I like seeing the best in people, you know, until they prove me wrong, of course. And I just like winning with people. I would much rather, you know, and me and teachers talk about it all the time, man. Like I would if some product created $100 million and we sold it for $100 million, like, and man, 10 people split it and like we all happy and we did it together and we could, you know, do more together, do the next thing together. Like to me, that's way more rewarding than, me taking home a $10 million check by myself.
Right. Yeah.
I would much rather the opportunity to do that with people because we built something bigger.
Right.
You know, and that's still the step I haven't seen us take as Black men, where I see a lot of individuality. I see a lot of people talking about us wanting to advance, but then I see 20 different liquor brands by Black men. Why y'all not combining your efforts to build something special, to build those monopolies that we see and talk about and look up to?
Right.
Now you're just taking a piece of the market as another liquor brand, when in reality, if 10 of y'all teamed up to create that liquor brand, you know, it would have been a multi-billion-dollar company as opposed to maybe just a small market share with your name attached to it. We're not really going to take the necessary steps until we start working harder and harder together and stop talking about it, but being about it. Like, why is there should be, instead of every celebrity or athlete trying to do their own fund, why can't we do one big fund, raise multi-billion dollars, work together? Yeah, we may have a smaller percentage, but we're making more money.
Yeah,
and that's when you change the game.
Sure.
That's when we get the attention of other races. Like, they working together, and that's when we'll really wake them up. You know, that's what's gonna really move the needle for us.
Yeah, that's an internal thing, like an internal value for our company. We always say, like, winning alone isn't winning, because it's not. So, I mean, like, even like Tiger Woods, like, he had a caddy.
That's,
you know what I mean?
Fact. That's a fact.
Like, I did, like, it's like, you know, like it's you know, it's yeah, man, it's a lot of stuff to cover and talk about in this like unique discipline, man. I think people step on their own toes a lot, especially us. Like, when I say us Black men, because we'll let our pride get in the way of a lot of stuff. When in actuality, we can do so much more together if we're able to just learn how to put our egos to the side just for a little bit.
You know, you're making me think about some things now. I've had some people that I partner with that I don't partner with anymore. And I'm thinking about, like, did I make the right decision there? Could we have gone about things a different route?
Well, sure. I mean, if you know, I mean, you gotta have the right partner. Like, you're not like, don't just partner with somebody because he's a Black man. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just keeping it real. No, like, he could be Black, blue, orange, white, Asian, Hispanic. Like, if you don't align, you don't align. Like, obviously, like, I give, when I'm trying to mentor people,
more leeway.
Yeah, I give young Black men a look first on purpose. I'll give you, like, if I don't give people access to me, I'll give you access to me, right? But, like, it's got to work, man. Like, there's reasons why, like, Corey and I are able to do this together. Like, if it wasn't for our partnership, like, we could both do things really well together separately and on our own. Right. But, like, Corey and I know tons of Black men in our ecosystem that we would never start a business with.
Oh my God,
like,
bro.
So it, like, we're lucky in the sense that we just work. But, like, if it's not like that, then, so, like, if you have to always second guess it or think that, like, if you have to justify why you're working with someone, it's not right.
Oh,
it has to fit like it has to work.
Or you're moving on eggshells because you're like, you're like, when you give somebody a project or thing to do and you're worried about it, like, because you just don't know what you're gonna get, but I don't want to say you're scared to talk about it or bring it up, but you're just like, that's my man, so let me see what he got. Dude, like, that's just not a good place to be in, and you know you're not doing it for the. And again, to answer your question, did you make the right decision? Tidra and I are big on, like, you know, our intuition and our guts. Like, if your gut told you to move on, like,
for sure it did.
Yeah. It's told me multiple times. It's the right thing to do, right? You know, otherwise you're just gonna continue to let yourself down, drain your mental health, right?
Bro,
like,
oh my God.
You got to be in the best position to thrive. Your mental health, because your environment, right? Like, my biggest quote I always say is, when a flower's dying, you don't blame the flower, you blame the environment. You know what I'm saying? So like you gotta assess the environment. So again, just because that's your homie, or just because he's a woman of color or a male of color, he or she, or whatever it may be, that doesn't mean that that's the right opportunity or the right partnership.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that shouldn't matter at all. That doesn't, just because is black doesn't mean they can't let you down.
No, that's true. That's true. I think I just always think about that, because I'm like, dang, because when things started, I was like, yo, I think this is gonna be dope. Things are working out really well, and then things happen towards the, you know, as you build stuff out, you start seeing different things. And so I was just like, nah, I don't really know. But you still try to give. I'm the type of person, I try to give people chances.
But look,
you know what I'm saying?
I'll give you boxes to check for a partnership. Here's what you look for in a partnership. If these boxes don't check, you can't do it. Number one, trust. If you can't trust them, if you can't trust somebody, you cannot build a business with them. Okay. You literally cannot, like flat out. Next one is they need to have the same tenacity, work ethic, and attention to detail that you do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, meaning from a like, and I'm like, all these things that I'm saying, like, we align on these things, which is why I was willing to go to battle with him, and vice versa. Number 3 is your values need to align. Like, from a, here's why I do what I do, here is who I am, and here's like my character set. Here's who I am as a person, right? And number 4 is, you know it's like a really good partnership if he or she is good at what you're not good at, and vice versa.
Right.
So those 4 things, trust, the way you do things, who you are, and the tit for tat, like, are you good at what I'm not good at? If you don't have those 4, undeniably, you should not and cannot go into business with somebody. Well, and a 5th that I would add is, and it's hard, but there has to be an absence of ego, or else it's all going to be messed up.
I would say number 6. Sorry, before you go.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
is one he would agree with, is emotional intelligence and social awareness, which I combine, because there's a lot of my boys who check a lot of those boxes, or a lot of my friends in general. But I know if they're going to be my business partner, they can maybe work for me. But when you have a business partner, you have to have you're going to be in situations where I can't walk in a room worried that you're not gonna have the social awareness and emotional intelligence
to know how to handle yourself,
to where it could end up hurting us, you know, from certain perspective, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge part of a business partner. Having someone work for you and do things for you, like, less of those boxes need to be checked, right? Because
a partner is essentially an extension of you,
and vice versa,
and vice versa,
right? So
exactly. Like, when I walk in the room, they're like, "Where's Big C at?" How's T Drew doing? Like,
how's one? Right? Like, a partner is like, you have to. That's how it should be if that's your partner,
right? Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and absence of ego. Like, I know whether they admit it or not, you know, there's so many partners who they see their boy getting their partner getting shine, and they a little hurt. You hurt, man. If you get hurt, if you get that feeling on either side, you need to call that man or that woman right now and end it. If that's the natural emotion that occurs when you see your partner getting a win and succeeding, if you feel that, you should call that person right away and say, "Hey man, I don't think this is the right situation," because that's crazy to me.
Or reassess why you feel that way.
That ruins so many partnerships, and it legitimately comes from like envy and just being insecure, and it happens with Black men a lot because like, we feel like we can only be the only one there
because the system taught us that.
Because the system taught us that, and it's not our fault. But it's like, that's why I'm so grateful for like Corey and I's partnership, because he wants me to win.
Right.
And I want him to win.
Right.
Like, if I'm very frankly, like, if I were to talk to PR or somebody and they wanted to do an article on me or whatever, my first comment is, how can we make this an article about Corey and I first or whatever? And then if those people are like, no, we want this to be just for you, like, and that goes live, Corey's reposting it, hit me up, yo, dad, like, he's hyped, like it's him. Like, but even then, in a situation like that, my first reflex is, how can I make this something about us?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like, it's
beneficial.
It's
to the
right.
brand.
You know what's interesting too? This is not cap. I know well, they should know it's not cap, but I'm gonna testify as to why it's not cap, because the whole reason why I met you, Corey, is because when we first did the interview, you were like, yo, bro, you gotta talk to Corey. I didn't even know I didn't even know there was a Corey. I was like, I saw you. I'm like, oh, we gonna do something together. I didn't even know Corey existed.
Yeah,
until we had the podcast episode and you were like, yo, we gotta put you in touch with
bro. A rising tide lifts all boats, bro.
Bro, one of our what I could speak to now, one of our biggest investors and our biggest mentor and like our big brother, you know, I remember I was in a situation where, you know, he wanted to see me succeed. I knew I had a relationship with him first. And he was like, man, like, what you up to? I'm like, hey, you know, I'm building something with my best friend, you know, passionate about it. We're figuring things out. Wasn't really looking for investment at this time. We were still bootstrapping, figuring life out. T-Drew was still working. And, you know, he looked at me, he was like, you know, I want to get involved, you know, however I can, you know. And, you know, a situation where you think we should buy your partner out, what you think? Like, he was testing me. I was like, nah, if he not with me, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm good.
Yeah.
99% of cats would have been like, yeah.
Oh yeah, come on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, especially in that moment of someone of that power kind of almost presenting to you like he wants a partnership with you. And I was like, nah. Like, again, because, I mean, you know, half of it, because I know I don't like going on these missions by myself. Right. So I like going at things with somebody I trust, knowing that, like, you know, we got to go at this together. You're stronger as a team. You're stronger as a unit. And that's facts in most situations. Right. It's not a lot of John Wicks out here. So like just going at it alone. So, you know, when that kind of got brought up, and I was just like, nah, like, you know, no way. You know, like we started this, and, you know, it's either we're going to move along together, or, you know, let's just keep this relationship cordial. And if you want to get involved as we progress, cool. Yeah. And I think he respected that, and he obviously is equally loves both of us now and cares about us so much. And he's you know, he plays an important role in our success and where we are. And, you know, one of our biggest you know, goals in life and the things that motivate us is to make him proud. You know, he's someone who isn't of color, who wants to see people of color succeed. Right. And, you know, we're passionate about proving him right in that regard. And we're passionate about doing it together and showing that, man, like, Black people can get together and do something special. Yeah. You know, because I know it's going to hopefully pave the way. Like, and that I don't want to be lit for the bread. Like, of course, great, let's do that. I want to be lit to give me the means and the platform to show people, to show other young rising stars and entrepreneurs of color, or, you know, of, you know, being overlooked and being the underdog, to show that, man, you could go do this. And that's what we're so passionate about. That's really what the success for us will bring. And that's what really drives us, is really being that shining star for people to look up to and say, man, two brothers did it together. And they succeeded.
Yeah, and they were different. Like we do this together, but like we also have our own personal images. Like, you know what I mean? We have our own interests. Like, Corey and I are very similar, but we're also very different. Like, but we're similar in all the reasons that matter with how we treat people, how we do things, like all those things. But we're also very different in the way we express ourselves, and the way we operate, and the things that we talk about, and how we present our own personal images. And like, we also are able to lift those up on the side, like, as well. And it's like,
and like, you got to understand that, especially if you're going to business with your friend or your homie, your best friend in our instance, you're going to evolve as people during that time. And y'all got to adapt to each other's growth.
Yeah.
Right?
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a lot. T-Drew was 25 when I met you.
Yeah. No. 24.
T-Drew was 24 when I met him. I was 26. I'm 32 now. He's 31. We're two different people. Right? You know, in order for, so like, similar to what we talked about with the buckets of work and personal, et cetera, we got to nurture our personal relationship as well as our business relationship and be able to separate those two and not let them carry over to each other. And we also got to realize that we evolve as people. Right. What we enjoyed and cared about back when T-Drew was 24, just moving to New York, not knowing what the heck was going on, is a lot different than what he cares about now, and vice versa for me, right? What I care about, right? And what drives me, what motivates me, what I enjoy doing, what I don't like doing, and adapting in that way, you know. And for a lot of those years, me and T-Drew have lived together and done a lot of things together, right? You know, that's my man. So like, that's family. So, and that's something that has to happen. It doesn't, you know, in a lot of ways, unfortunately, being friends and being business partners don't work out because it unfortunately does carry over to the business life carries over to the personal life, you know, and we're really good. You have to be able to separate the two. And yeah, it is. It's just business. Like, I'm not coming at you because I dislike you or I no longer love Steve Drew and Clarice Drew, and you know, you're not my mans no more, but like, yeah, let's try to separate the two. And I think any friendship struggles with that in the beginning, and I think we did ourselves, but you got to evolve and understand that in order for you to succeed, like, I can't go to bed mad at T. Drew over some business stuff.
We always, you always, there's always a way to get on the same page.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
We always, like, we over communicate. And I mean, there's always a way to get on the same page. I feel like we're talking a lot. Is there anything?
No. Keep. This is what we.
I mean, there's.
Don't stop yourself, bro.
So, you know,
the point is for y'all to talk. They hear me talk all the time. They tired of me. I'll tell you that.
So I think another thing on this is very important that I've actually seen evolve over the years in our relationship is just like the team that we have around ourselves. So like, as Corey was saying earlier, like a mental performance coach, he inspired me to look into that. I'm like, maybe I should, that's interesting, right? Like, one of my favorite shows is Billions, and I was like really enamored with the fact that, you know, Axe had Wendy Rhodes, like that was his mental performance coach, right? And then I did more research, and I found out that like all of the most successful entrepreneurs had executive coaches. So I was like, okay, I can't afford one, but maybe I can try to figure out a way to like have one because I think, you know, this would be better. Like, and I realized that like everybody needs a coach. So I think what has been able to evolve us as entrepreneurs is we've been able to find that. Like, he has his group and his system, even though Corey is like Superman, like he has a personal trainer, right? Like he has a mental performance coach, right? He has me, he has like other people in his life, right? Like he has a system, right? Like I have him, I have 2 executive coaches now. I have a spiritual advisor, right? Which was extremely important, you know, for me and to me, right? And, you know, so like I have like a, you know, team, right? And that's something that I think people don't think about. And there's ways to do it without not paying a lot of money for it. Like I found like somebody put in contact with me like an executive coaching scholarship that I applied to and ended up winning it. And then that executive coach introduced me to someone that sponsored the back half of my executive coaching sponsorship, which happened to then be one of the best executive coaches of all time. And now he's just there. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen?
Good energy.
Right?
Good
energy, right? Yeah. So like, and you set the intention. So like, that's something else that's important. Like, that's why we talk about environmental wellness. It's your environment. Environmental wellness doesn't just mean sunlight and going outside and like grounding, which is important, obviously, but it means like your environment around you.
Yeah, the support system that you have.
And so that's really important. So like, you know, we are now your support system, right? Like we're in that for you, right? Like in order to be it, you got to see it. Like that's another thing that, you know, is really important to us. So like now, like we're in your support system, right? Like, and you don't think about that until you start forming it, and then you move along in your career and you're like, like all those people, whether it's mentors, this, that, my massage person on 72nd Ave, my therapist over here, my performance coach here, my advisor here, like all those, it takes a village. All those, like an advisor mentor just told me the other day, she was like, it was crazy, man. And like, I just sat there, I was reading it. She was like, you know, you've always had the wings. Now with us, we just get to teach you how to fly. I'm like, yo, that's different. You know what I mean? That's what like, that's what, you know, because I struggle with imposter syndrome a lot, or I have before, I still do, but it's much better now because of the people I have around me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, like watching you grow, man, like, you know, and that's why I hit you like, man, let's do something, you know, and for all the people watching, like there's things that we're going to do in the future here that like, you know, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy and like, you know, in the mental health space. You know, I don't consume a lot of content just because I try to, you know, I try to detach myself from social media beyond like creating my own content as a necessary evil to decompress. Because we all know, you know, you get into that scroll and it just distracts you from all the things you need to get done. But like, man, I've watched not only your content evolve since we connected, but I watched the community grow. I watched the production grow. I've watched the content is so good. Like I make sure to consume your content because of the topics that you're talking about. Like so much so, it gets me to engage.
That was great.
Where I don't engage with much else. I mean, I share whatever sports and stuff with my guys and, you know, and T Drew, but like your content is good and seeing the journey of that. So I'm like, man, let me tap in before kids who I can't even get in contact with. You know what I'm saying?
I came to this like the whole reason this happened was because I was just a fan of the platform. I'm like,
oh yeah. You know what I remember? Yeah. You commented, who the hell is this?
Yeah,
I never seen this person because I take a
yeah, that goes back to your attention to detail,
bro. Man, people don't know, bro. I know people on like a profile level. In terms of Instagram, I may not know their name, but when I see certain profiles, I know who the super users are. At the very least,
those people matter the most.
They matter the most, bro.
Those are your evangelists.
Those are the evangelists. Those are the moderators inside Safe Haven.
Exactly.
Those are the people that bring in more people. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the people that they're gonna bring in like 100 to 1,000 people over the course of a couple of years. You know what I'm saying? Like. And it's not just about that. It's actually because I actually really do care. Like when somebody 100%. Sends a DM or makes a comment and I see that they're in a space where they need help, my first thought is, all right, cool, bro. Let's see how we can help you. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw somebody make a comment today where he's like, yo, bro, I'm this black man is tired. I'm tired of trying. I'm like, that don't sound good. You know what I'm saying? I can't see that and then just keep going. Right. Like I'm gonna send you a DM. And if you respond, if you don't respond, then you don't respond. But at the very least, I want to make sure I hit you up and see how you're doing, because the whole point of this, right? Like the whole point of what we do is to help people, right? So for me, like when I saw you comment, I'm like, yo, I've never seen this profile before. Who is this? And I literally go and I look at your profile. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, yeah, we can definitely link up and try and do something. You know what I'm saying? So I really take I pay very close attention to the people that follow the platform, but more specifically the people that engage with the content on a regular basis, because that says to me like, okay, either this is bringing you value, you need more, or maybe you need help, right? 100%. And that all of those are important, extremely important data points for anybody that's building anything, right? Like in order for you to have a community that's like a cult-like following, you have to be able to connect with the people. If you're not connecting with the people, there's no point.
100%.
There's no point at all, bro.
No, I have a question.
What's up?
So knowing your platform and your audience and knowing us and putting those two things together, what would be something or some things that we haven't talked about already where you'd be like, okay, that would be like direct value to the people that I know that are
first of
listening
all,
right now.
we're talking about things. This episode would be more geared towards someone that's building a platform, a business. But if we want to get to someone like the average man that's watching this, he's struggling with relationships. Either he's in one or he's trying to get in one and he needs relationship advice. That's always a big topic. Dating and relationships, breakups. He's dealing with borderline depression, may not even know that he's depressed, right? He's dealing with borderline depression, right? And he may have some anxiety, may have social anxiety, may not fit in, maybe not for the same reasons as you, but maybe dealing with the same type of symptoms where it's like, I don't fit in here. What the hell am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So like the kind of like, and then also identity crisis, which is kind of what you talked about earlier. So the conversation segue into business and stuff. But if you want to get into that, like if you want to talk more about like how you've experienced that imposter syndrome, but also not really fitting in, like those are two big points that people in the audience will relate with directly and find a lot of value.
Talk about that a little. I mean, I think I can really just with some direct, because I've been through a lot of that. So when I was talking to my executive coach about it in imposter syndrome, she said, she was asking me a series of questions, and then she like said something really nuts that like kind of hit me and made me like take a step back. And I was like, wow. She was like, think of all your experiences. And she was like, when you were under pressure, when you had stuff to do, when you had things that you had to get done and accomplish, whatever it was, she was like, when did you not perform? And I was like, I've always just done it. She was like, so why are we having this conversation? And I was like, oh. Like, so then I took a step back and I realized, I was like, okay, so this is just who I am. And no matter what I do, I'm not going to change who I am. So it doesn't matter like how much pressure I'm under, what the stakes are, who I'm talking to, who I'm working with, whatever. Like, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to get it done at a high level every time, because it's just who I am.
That's innate. Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, oh, okay. So like, it's similar to like the way that I flick my nose or the way I brush my teeth or the way I walk. Like, it's just who I am. Right. So it goes back to having self-awareness and the ability to just take inventory. Like, just remember and latch on to times in your life and things that you've done where you've just continued to do it. And the other side of that is, if you're feeling that way, like, you're still here, like, you're here now. So like, you're fine. Just control what you can control in the moment and understand that no matter what happens, it's not going to happen if you don't do anything about it. Like, it like, thinking about a result or like, is this going to happen? Am I going to do it this way? Am I going to whatever? As long as you can do two things, take action and promise yourself that you're going to do the best job that you know how to do, you can live with the result. Like, and so that alone is like, that's imposter syndrome. Like, you do those two things and then you realize that like, whatever moment you're in life, you being there, you're there for a reason because of who you are. It's not like you put on a mask and you were a different person the entire time of your life to get to this moment. Now, if you were like Elizabeth Holmes and completely lying about who you are to do something, then
I doubt
you deserve to have imposter syndrome because you were putting on an act. But
and stop looking. And he's not saying, too many people look at the successes of other people and feel like they have no struggles, and obviously that's talked about so much of why social media and things like that continue to have such a negative impact on people's mental health, because social media is mostly showing your wins and your successes as opposed to your L's and your losses. People don't love showing them starting at the bottom,
right,
or showing the upbringing and things like that.
right.
So like people have to stop being in the moment of being uncomfortable and in these tough positions and looking at all these people succeed and comparing themselves to that, and then, you know, paralyzing themselves from moving forward,
Right.
because they don't think they can accomplish that.
Right.
You know, that's not fair to yourself to assess that and think that none of these people are dealing with shit. Right?
That's why I tell that, that's why I lead the platform the way I lead it, where I always talk about leading with vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
Because people need to see what it looks like for an average Black man to go through life, instead of every single time you're going on Instagram, you're seeing this guy bought this, and this guy has this deal, and this guy is doing this, and this guy has this. It's like, bro, like, damn.
So much of it is performative.
You know what I'm saying? Like, who out here is actually living a regular life?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You start feeling like, wait, is my life regular, or am I just not doing what I should be doing? You know what I'm saying? It's because you're comparing yourself to everybody else, man. I feel like we've had a really good conversation. I wanted to talk more about what we're planning. So I want to wrap up with that. We don't have to get too much in the weeds,
Yep.
but just enough to get people to understand it. Because I've been having a lot of conversations with people in Safe Haven, a lot of conversations with people on the platform. You're like, yo, you got to do something in person. Yo, when's the event happening? When are you guys doing something in person? And I'm like, yo, we working, bro. We working on it. Yo, give me some time, bro. I'm having conversations right now. So, what's up, bro? Can you tell them a little bit? Give them some details on some of the things that we got planned. Bro.
Yeah, man. So, you know, obviously there's a lot of synergies with Express Yourself Black Men and 1-in-1 and what we're doing, as you heard today. And, you know, we're super excited to bring to the culture, to the community, you know, an official in-person events that really focus on mental health, vulnerability, all the things that Express Yourself Black Men has, you know, went into detail about, you know, over the last couple of years, and all the things that 1-in-1 has went into detail about. You know, we're going to have some awesome sponsors involved, some, you know, awesome people involved. Obviously, myself and T. Drew will be deeply involved with Kizzle, his community, his team. And man, we just going to bring something special to the community, a place, a safe haven, no pun intended, where people can come to have an awesome experience, be vulnerable for a minute, take a step back, put their pride aside, check their pride at the door, you know, might shed some tears in the room. All that stuff might go down in that space, but everybody who leaves that event is going to come out a better individual, a better person. And that's what I'm super excited about. And, you know, again, man, just watching your growth and your attention to detail is just something that myself and T. Drew admire. And, you know, I think combining forces to do something special, you know, for the things that we care about, such as seeing Black men have more attention on mental health, on their own mental health, and, you know, moving the needle for themselves and understanding that it's not okay to not be okay and consistently. And it's also okay to understand and recognize that you're dealing with stuff,
right? That
you're dealing with issues and you know, and maybe you're not even aware.
Right.
And if we can be a place and a platform that collectively shows you that, you know, wow, I am dealing with something, and that's why this is happening. And here's how to solve these issues, or here's a support system in a community that can help me get through life, personally, financially, in business, whatever it may be.
Right.
Then I know we're doing it right. And there's no doubt in my mind, combining forces with you would allow us to do that. So super excited for these in-person events that we're going to roll out here this year. Obviously, stay tuned for what's to come. It's going to be super special.
They'll hear about it.
Yeah, and
definitely hear about it.
If you take anything away from, you know, Kizzle's and T. Drew's, and T. Drew, his like his aim and his email is tdrewthehost@gmail.com. So like T. Drew loves events, and
yeah,
like,
man, I
so,
used to, one of my first Wow, yeah. Well, my first company was a clothing line. My second company was an events business. Um, so yeah, man, I just, experiences are the best, man. When you're able to really control it and give a good one and have people just leave better than
they came.
than they came. That's what it's about, man. But I'm gonna keep pushing you, man. I'm gonna you personally.
Okay.
Like I'm gonna keep nudging you and pushing you and whatever to think bigger. Like
Okay.
I'm gonna push you to think bigger. I'm gonna push you to raise money. I'm gonna push you to grow and continue to do more with this thing because
it's time to let that
you need to
go, my
brother.
like
if
it's time to wake up and focus on express yourself.
Yeah, if I
community needs you.
Yeah, if we can do what we've done and as far as creating things and raising money the right way and all these other things, I think there's a huge opportunity for me and us to continue to push you to think bigger and to build bigger and to hire more people and to raise money and to build the solution and to build out something that you really think needs to be an ecosystem in your way that you continue to own.
Yeah, bro. So pat yourself on the damn back, building what you've done with a 9-to-5.
I appreciate that.
And being able to show up and have all that attention to detail and build something special. Just imagine when you are able to add more gas to the fire, because you're able to step away because of a fundraise or whatever it may be that really helps you, step away from other obligations that, you have that you need. Those are cups that you need to fill. But when you're able to really put your full focus into express yourself, Black men, full time, I think that's when it's gonna be.
Don't be scared, bro. Just take the leap, bro. Don't be scared. Just jump.
We gonna
we're gonna talk. Again, bro, like
because this is needed, bro.
Yeah, your addressable market is like, and you can jump because like you got people like us that have made enough mistakes to make sure that like if you jump, you're not gonna land on concrete. So like just jump.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of, obviously during Black Lives Matter and all that stuff, a lot of people try to do what you're doing or like they raise money to do what you're doing.
I've seen people raise $4 to $5 million to try to do what you're doing, and they don't have the audience you have. Let's put it that way.
You know what I'm saying? They don't. So, it's not even. Like, it's not even close.
I'm just keeping it. Keeping it real.
I'm not here to say names, but it's just not.
That's why I'm adamant.
It's not close.
Yeah, that's why that's why I'm adamant about like. Yeah. You with the audience you have now and what you understand about that audience and your engagement in that niche, as long as your business model thesis is straight and what you're building is locked in, like
I'll look at the camera, right? This isn't cap because I just met Kizzle for the first time in person today. So this isn't like me just tooting his horn because that's my boy since we were child. Like, this is real, bro. Like what you have is special.
I appreciate
so we, T Drew and I would love to not only help amplify that, and collaborate to hopefully do things more and reach both of our communities and also have overlap, of course, because what we both do that, has a lot of synergies and impacts people in a positive way, and just really want to see you grow, man. And you're just a good dude, work your butt off. Just a special person building a special platform for a special purpose. And let's keep building, my bro.
Absolutely. Can y'all tell people where to find y'all before we end the episode?
Yeah, so go to the App Store. Go to the App Store, download the 1&1 app. 1&1, the number 1, AND, the number 1, all one word. You'll see 1% Better Together, habit building made simple. It's free. Let us know what you think. And that's number 1. Our website, 1&1life.com, actually, and this is, the perils of business, but the website got hacked 24 hours ago. So I've been in fire drill mode. So it'll be back up in
You got ransomware going?
Probably a few hours. Dude, I mean, we got a 54 domain authority, man. We got some decent traffic, so people, whatever. But yeah, number one, download the app. We have a mental health podcast, Off the Cuff with Danny Lopriori, if you want to check that out. And yeah, that's us. Obviously, social media, 1-in-1 app, on TikTok, Instagram, all that. But yeah, main thing is just the app, man. We're really proud of it. Check it out. Like I said, it's free. And it'll really help you not only build some good habits, but it's just some good education in there, and it's a really cool framework. Yeah, and we'll be doing a lot of PR soon.
Corey, what's your social? How can people connect with you?
Yeah, my good brother T. Drew mentioned all the 1-in-1 accounts. My personal account is Big C 1-in-1, place you could find a lot of information about wellness. I am actually which we didn't get into, I am a fitness, health, and wellness coach at the forefront, and that is, what I lead the charge with in terms of, for 1-in-1 programming with our digital health programs. So a lot of my content, is just free game for how to become 1% better physically and mentally, whether it's through fitness in a lot of ways, entrepreneurship, just all aspects of wellness. I'm always talking about that. Obviously driving people to 1-in-1 through the funnel. But, very passionate about what I talk about, all my clients, all the people that I work with, and that we work with and build programs for. Man, I've been blessed to work with thousands of people around the world, man, and I never get tired of doing it. So, I would love for anybody has any fitness advice that they want. I've been through my own weight loss journey. I'm still grinding.
You lost like 80 pounds
to get down, brother. I've struggled with weight loss and my own weight, and I've struggled with my own habits and my own wellness. And even as an active wellness coach, I've struggled. So I know what it takes to lock back in. I know the mindset shift that needs to occur to do so. And that's free game that I always love talking to people about. So I'm here for you all. If you're listening and you're in a place where you feel like you need help and you just want to reach out, don't be afraid to shoot me a message, shoot me a DM. And, I'll get back to you when I can, for sure. I always make it a point to do so. So I'm all about helping people become 1% better each day, and I'm never too good to help people do that. So, man, shoot out to me.
I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all so much for coming on the pod, for real, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us, man.
Thanks for having us.
I'm not a wellness coach, but I just post inspirational quotes, so you can go to mine. It's T. Drew if you want that.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. It's been dope, man. I appreciate y'all, for real, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Okay,
my guy.
We good. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Express Yourself Black Man podcast. We really hope you gained some valuable insight on things you could do differently with your healing journey and with the Black man in your life. If you found value in this episode, please, please, please leave us a review on whatever platform you listen or watch the podcast on. Your review is a free and easy way to support us, and it helps us reach more people like you. We're on a mission to build a stronger, more connected Black community, starting with Black men. And you can help us on that mission by taking a minute to leave a review. Your review helps us generate more listeners, which in turn generates more revenue, allowing us to expand our platform even further. And speaking of expansion, we're in the middle of that process right now with the Black Man Safe Haven. We're expanding the Safe Haven platform to add more benefits so we can continue to support the demand we've received from this audience. During this time, we've paused enrollment to Safe Haven, but we invite you to sign up for the wait list. Safe Haven is our holistic healing platform where we take the stress out of the healing journey for Black men. In Safe Haven, we provide you or the Black man you know with access to a Black mental health professional so you can finally heal from the things you find it difficult to talk about, and you will receive support from over 200 Black men that are all on their healing journey so you don't have to heal alone anymore. You'll also get access to weekly meditations led by wellness experts, support group sessions led by Black therapists, a library of over 200 articles geared towards Black men's healing, master classes, and more. You can join the Safe Haven waitlist right now by going to www.expressyourselfblackman.com/safe-haven-waitlist or by clicking the link in the description of this podcast episode. Don't wait. Do not wait. We've had hundreds of signups for Safe Haven already, and we'll be opening enrollment soon. Due to capacity, we may not be able to service everyone. So don't hesitate to sign up now to secure your spot or the spot of a Black man you know as soon as enrollment opens. Thank you again for listening to the Express Yourself Black Man podcast. We'll be back soon with more dope episodes. And until then, take care of yourself first, then the people around you. Love y'all.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. A shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. No, you need to hear it, my brother, I love you. We got way too much to live for. We got way too much to live for.